Perfect. And we are off. So to kick us off tonight, I am going to be doing a little bit of cooking in my Thermomix. So this is obviously a TM6 that I'm using today. This particular session that we're running is not a Thermomix showcase as such. It isn't a demo or a cooking experience. I'll be using the Thermomix and cooking with it, but this is really more around meal planning, meal preparation, more so than just the TM6 demo. So if you want to see more, ask questions and that sort of thing, you're welcome to ask questions today, but the best thing is to chat to your consultant and say, I want to know more about the TM6. Let's have a demo, have it one-on-one, whatever it might be, so you can properly see and check it out. So what we're doing tonight is just using it. There's lots of info that you'll miss if you're just watching along and you're not familiar with it already. So what I'm going to be cooking, I am just going to bring it up. Oh, I've got it on one and not on the other. 1 second and I'll search it. So you can see I've got 2 here on my bench. I'm pretty lucky. A bunch of us were lucky enough to earn ourselves a black Thermomix early in the year, which is pretty exciting. And I have 2 on my bench. When it comes to meal prepping, it is very, very handy to have 2 Thermix. I know some of you guys on here do. If you actually have a second Thermomix on your bench, I'd love to pop a 1 in the chat box if you have a second one on your bench. So I've just got Cookie Doo here on the screen, and I'm just going to type in prep ahead. As I'm typing this in, it's going to start popping up. And the first one up here is prep ahead, layered chicken, eggs, and salmon. Oh, 3 TM5 and 2 TM6s. There's a lot of food that can be cooked in that amount. Well done.
Jo?
Yes.
Am I able to do some screen sharing to just quickly bring up the recipe?
Yeah, sure.
How about that? Host has disabled it.
Hang on. Go.
5 minutes.
Great. So, and there's me. And we are going to put in prep ahead. And you can see the prep ahead. You might want to take screenshots of this. So I thought this would be handy for you to see. What we will actually be doing is utilizing all the different layers to not cook a dish as such, but to really have this assist us in meal prepping. So like we said last week, we want to give you some ideas on how you can best, kill several birds with 1 stone. And this is a fantastic, really fantastic idea to go about it. I hope that everyone has got this. So I'm stopping the screen share, back over to Jo. Hello there.
Beautiful. Hang on, I'll just make sure that my spotlight is still on so you guys can all see me. Perfect. All right. So, yeah, as Colette said, this is a layered dish, but it isn't a full meal in one. So when I hit start cooking, I'm going to throw in a brown onion. There's 100 grams of brown onion, approximately half. I'm going to use a small one. It's a little bit over. It doesn't matter. 1 garlic clove. Pop your lid on. And we're going to chop that up. All right, I'm going to give it another couple of seconds. All right, now we're going to add in 800 grams of water. Has anybody done this one before? Pop it into the chat box if you have. So, onion and garlic. All right, 800 grams of water. And 1 to 2 tablespoons of chicken stock paste. Now, I'm just using my normal veggie stock. I have made chicken stock. You can use chicken stock. I love my veggie stock, and it's what I tend to make more so than the meat stock. So I'm just going to use it. And 2 to 3 sprigs of mixed fresh herbs. I actually don't have any herbs in my garden at the moment, so I'm just going to use a bit of dried thyme. But anything that you have growing fresh is really, really good. Put a little bit in.
We have a request here, Joel.
Yes.
A pretty serious one. Do you think you want to put yourself in front of the camera as well?
I can, but then you notice.
Andrew's
Then
being
you can't
funny.
see the Thermomix.
No, that's okay. It's good to have you in the picture.
You'll see plenty of me throughout. It's the
Shortly,
Thermomix's
yeah.
time to shine now, all right? So just watch the Thermomix. Concentrate. I don't want to distract you all. All right, isn't that what you said earlier?
Yep.
All right, simmering basket goes in. And we have in there 500 grams of skinless, boneless chicken thighs. Now, if you've ever had me on Zoom before or I've been cooking with you, I don't ever stick to a recipe. I just use what I have on hand. So these are just chicken breasts. It's going to work out just fine, but it's just what I happen to have on hand. And I've cut them up sort of in thirds, so big chunks there. Now we're going to pop in or season with salt and pepper. Pop a little bit in. And some salt. And you could add any extra herbs or lemon or anything else that you want in here, depending on what flavors you like. And then we pop in our varoma. So lid goes on. And in our varoma, we have eggs. 8 eggs in the varoma. Add on. And we pop up the top salmon. That's my salmon. So again, don't ever cook with the recipe. I actually live not super rural, but in Wingham, and it's a little bit tricky. You often can't get nice fresh salmon in our local Coles. I actually went to another Coles and I still couldn't get not any that was reasonably priced. With the prices of food at the moment, I'm not going to pay a ridiculous price for some salmon. For me in particular, I'm just as happy with a can of salmon and then putting it in with something else. So each to your own. Salmon is absolutely lovely, but right at the moment, it's really expensive and a bit tricky to get. So I'm subbing it out for what was in season and what was cheap, which was cauliflower and asparagus. Again, broccoli, if it's $13 a kilo, well, you may as well just go and buy your salmon for that much. But if you can pick veggies that are in season, I'm always looking just to keep all of my meal prep, all of my cooking down in budget. And it just means that I'm not spending as much week to week. I'm putting that time into plan and organize and budget. And it means you can then do a nice cheap shop and still get lots of bang for your buck. Now, other things that I could have put in instead of salmon, instead of veggies, I could have put in chickpeas, tofu, any other different kind of seafood. Could have added more chicken. However, whatever I liked, but I just thought that some veggies would be a good mix. I've already got protein in here, protein in my eggs, and then just veggies on top, and that will finish mine off pretty good. So pop my lid on. That goes on there for 15 minutes. So when it comes to after dinner time for me is usually when I do my prep. This is what my prep looks like. And I'm done. That goes on and I'm finished. 15 minutes of that cooking. I'll go and wash up now and tidy up and get everything ready for tomorrow. When it sings at me, I'll come back out, do the next step, come back and put it all into containers. And that is my prep done. It doesn't take me half a day on a Sunday. I don't spend hours in the kitchen. It's literally do a few things, step out while it cooks. And this is what I love the most about meal prepping is doing something really, really quick, letting the Thermomix do all of the work and going to do your other stuff. And that way you are spending your time out of the kitchen doing what you love rather than being stuck in the kitchen cooking food all the time to try and keep up with how much you need. This afternoon, today, I had a batch of yogurt on. Again, it was a quick job for me to do this morning. On either side of breakfast, I heated and cooled my milk, added my other things, put it onto ferment, went about my day. I came back in this afternoon after my yogurt had cooled a bit and I mixed together the 2-ingredient dough. So yogurt and self-raising flour, really cost effective to make, and different components to what you get normally in your bread. But I literally threw that on and had it mixing together while I was feeding the kids dinner, pulled it out, stuck it in a dough mat, put the kids to bed, threw it on a tray in the oven, and it just is another thing that I've got done. I don't have to now pull a full lunchbox out in the morning. I've already got something done. I've got yogurt done, and I'm going to have this, and I feel like I've barely done any cooking. So there are lots and lots of ways that you can include meal prepping into every day in the kitchen, rather than it just being one full big full-on session. You can just add lots of little things in. But we're going to jump over to Colette, and she's going to take you through some other stuff. And
I'm just going to go to one of the messages that just arrived. That always, I hear this a lot. It is very simple. Carissa, oh, that's what I was going to make, yogurt today, and forgot. Now, you could, in your head, bash yourself up, or I haven't done it, and go about that in a negative way. But you could also say, look, it's not quite 8 o'clock yet. You could actually get this done. Hopefully you could set off your yogurt while you're listening, and let it cool down and actually ferment overnight. So it's an 8-hour process. And if you, let's say, go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you will definitely have a 6 o'clock alarm clock, and so there are ways of going about this. And yogurt, I have personally always, even though I've got several Thermomixes going in my house, but yogurt is something that I don't need to make throughout the day. I'll make that overnight so that it's out of my way and I don't have to worry about it. Just a little idea, obviously totally up to you. Was there any questions from anyone with regards to what Joe introduced you to? Put your hands up, particularly those of you who are on camera, if you are grateful for this idea. Because we are pretty excited about this. Thank you. We're pretty excited about this idea. And we also know from the past that even sometimes consultants haven't even come across this, this suggestion for meal prepping. So we had this in mind the whole time. And I'm not sure whether you mentioned, Joe, but at your top, you could just add an extra layer of chicken, because if chicken is your preferred form of protein for the week, you just end up having more to work with. And if you spread it out nicely, it's really not going to take a lot of time extra to cook. You can pull your eggs out when they're done after 15 minutes, and everything else can just still sit there for another 5 minutes and it's done. So we wanted to really make a distinction between meal prepping and meal planning. And I would love to involve you a little bit, and please use the chat box. Please tell me what you understand by meal planning. What is it? Do we need it? Do you need it? Why you would need it? And what is attractive to you when it comes to meal planning? I'm going to give you a minute so that the messages can come in. Yeah, so meal planning is setting up for the week with meals. Pretty straight to the point. I plan the meals for the week. It makes shopping easier. Oh, good. We've got 2 points that we're going to address today. Meal planning, using what I have in the pantry and thinking ahead so I can prepare spices if I need to make or maximize efficiency. Yeah, absolutely. As above. Anna, you're very clever. Beautiful. This is so beautiful. There isn't really, like last week, I'd say this again, there isn't a right or a wrong. Depending on what your schedule, what your needs are, depending on what your preferences are, and depending on what the availability of certain food items are, you will have to make provisions. And that's weekly, monthly, fortnightly, sometimes every couple of days. It's completely up to you. But meal prepping has one big advantage when you're doing the meal planning, it will lead to a big shop that will definitely help you to be efficient, will spend less time for those who are time poor in the shops, because you're going shopping with a purpose. And that generally leads to also not overspending. I'm not saying saving. Some of you will plan for something, you know, if you do get to buy salmon, it's not cheap. So for me, it's a bit of a special thing. I love eating salmon, but I don't get it to have it every day. But you will perhaps have others involved in your meal planning ahead. So I'm just drawing a picture. If you have a family with kids or a husband, or there are other people in your household that you're considering when you're producing your food, do you consider what they like? Do you consider what they don't like? Who pulls their hair out every week thinking, I really want to make this, but will they all eat it? Is that you? Anybody? Put your hands up. Always add your wine to the meal plan. Yeah, absolutely. I am actually waiting for Thermomix to allow us to take notes again in the app, which we used to be able to do before this latest version came in. So that is promised to us. So when you can add the notes yourself, that is awesome. Besides the shopping list. So best tips from us with regards to meal planning is, of course, that you consider your calendar. Whether you're cooking a meal that was planned for Monday on Wednesday, or one from Thursday into Tuesday, that doesn't really matter. Sometimes it can matter when you're on a health kick and when you have certain activities planned in a day. And then the value, your energetic value of food really matters, particularly if you're not as busy. But anyway, we're not talking about that part of meal planning. What I'd like to do is go straight to the Cookidoo platform today. And we want to deal with two things. One is, here's my finger, one is the actual planning side and utilizing the weekly planner, because what we all know as consultants is that people understand that these features exist within Cookidoo, but tend to not actually use them to the best of their abilities. So we want to bring this a little bit closer to you. And then in conjunction with this, of course, we'd like to show you how you can alter and create your shopping list. That should give you wonderful opportunity to save time, to save money, to save effort. And yeah, another thing before I go over to Cookidoo, I would love for you to open your mind up, not just to plan for your evening meals or for your main meals in the week. I'd love for you to think over what you're choosing for your breakfast, because breakfasts are really important when it comes to setting yourself up for the day. Choose 2 to 3 options for the week so that you are prepared when the day starts. Because if you haven't got a good start to the day with regards to very good, porridge is always good, that'll take you into lunch, Rebecca. But if you haven't got a good start into the day and you are frustrated about the fact you couldn't have what you wanted because you didn't have it, this can do lots of stuff up here that will spoil the choices you make later in the day. If you ever want to learn a little bit more about that, decision-making center and how it's switched off between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that would be an extra session. So that really goes into the psychology. So having said that, I'd like to go to the screen share and bring you some ideas. We summarized the notes from last week, and the majority of you were after options that would help the budget. And I'm going to start up with the budget. I'm going to give you a few small ideas on on dishes I would love for you to have a go at. Tomato and bacon. Spaghetti. So this is a really, really cost-effective one. If you take notes or take a screenshot, whichever way, even if you are on your own telephone, this is something really simple to do, and you could replace the bacon or just not use it at all. But this is a very popular recipe that will feed kids and adults at the same time. It also gives you the opportunity to add veggies in the way that whatever you've got available, and those can always cook up the top in your Varoma. So you would definitely not have a need for a stove. I'm moving on. But what else have I got? Oh, yep. Here is a little bit of a lentil and pancetta stew. There it is. So some of you might not be into lentils. It's time to get into them because they are a really cost-effective source of protein. And if you are doing meat-free Monday or anything like that, it might just be an option that will just give you something different to do. You could leave the chorizos out. You could add different vegetables, but to have the base of your soup or stew as vegetable and not protein, not meat, is something that will definitely be loved by your gut as well. And then I have something else. I've got hundreds of recipes saved in my collections, but I wanted to give you something that you probably haven't looked at. There is, who has made meatballs? Who has made meatballs? Yeah, everybody? So I'm looking for a recipe. Meatballs and rice. Come on. Tofu meatballs. So see the options that come up. I'm actually looking for an even different one, but I think it's going to, I'm not going to go there. What I would like for you to consider, where are you all? There you are. When it comes to meal planning, meal prepping, when it comes to progressing your journey as a customer, I would love for you to explore, can everybody see where I am? This downward bar. Our default setting when we're looking for recipes or when we're looking something up is always going to be recipes, whether that's on your machine or on any device. When you press the downward arrow, you know that we can go to collections, and I'm not even going to do that right now. I would love for you to go to the articles, and I have picked a few articles for you that I would like to recommend to you because they hold quite a number of recipe suggestions for you that will fit our today's purpose. Now, there is a, I'm going to scroll down because it is coming up down below. Or can I look for it? There is a, so there is an article that says must try pasta dishes. Now, as I open this article, it'll tell you lots about pasta, but what it also does, it is gives you recipe ideas, plainly with pasta. And you'd be surprised, you will be surprised. I actually found this lemon mascarpone and artichoke tagliatelle one day, and the truffle, I just made this with normal mushrooms. These two dishes that I would have normally not looked at. But one other thing that I've made is the orzo or risoni. That those are the little, it's the little pasta that looks like rice. A salad with artichokes and feta. I've made that. If you are in need to feed kids or to feed a larger crowd, this actually makes quite a lot for you. So there is an article that is definitely worthwhile pursuing a little bit more. Hang on. Moving on, another one I am going to go to here is we do get a lot of requests for people to do things around dough. The pastry shooting article shows you a nice video on how to come up with sweet and savory pastries. And perhaps just watching something like this may entice you to try out some pastry by yourself. Did everybody get that one? Yeah. I'm going to go back and pick two more that I would love to show you. There's, as you can see, I'm scrolling down and there is lots of stuff. If you're into baking, you want to decorate, see there is decorating ideas, and I'm pretty sure that you will definitely all enjoy some of these articles. So another one that I wanted to show you is for those who are vegetarians or would like to reduce the influence of meat. Here's a nice article on how to add some vegan type of dishes to your dinner menu that don't have to be expensive, but they give you a little bit of education around it. So tips for adding vegan dishes. That's one of my other tips. And then there is another one that I would like to bring to you. Smoothie is something most of you have probably done yourself. I would like, hang on. So here is sauces that had to be emulsified or that had to be made or that are being made with different techniques that may be a little bit more involved. I think you'll get a lot of here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ideas here in this little article. Check it out, because sometimes all it takes is you're cooking pasta and add a sauce, or you have your meal prepping done with the dish that we are almost about to look at. That Joe has made. We've got the protein sauces. Now we can cook the pasta and maybe just make a sauce. And there you have dishes that you can put together with rice, with pasta, with veggies. Think outside the box. You don't have to always create a guided cooking recipe. Make sense? Yeah. The other thing that I would really like to show you when it comes to using the recipe platform, I still get quite a lot of requests of people for certain type of recipes. And then they say, when I send them the recipe, oh, I can't access that. I don't find it. How do I find it? It comes down to the setup of your preferences and or your filters. So if you look at the box underneath the recipes on the left-hand side, the filters, I'm going to show them to you, but you see mine are pretty much set. I've currently set my filters up in German and in English for all the countries that are speaking those languages. So I've got close to 23,000 recipes available to me. However, what I want to do is show you how you can set your filters permanently. When you go to your profile, did you just see how I got to my profile? Fingers up.
No.
Yes? No? Shall I go back there?
Yes.
So I go from this page. Go to either that little chef's hat, or I've got my picture set up. If you press on your view profile, you will be led to this page. And in this page, the very first thing you can do, and by all means, you can change this, interchange this however often you like. but you can set up whether you want to get ideas thrown at you that are more for the veggie cook, or more for the, let's do the veggie cook, or more for the time-saving cook, or the chefy cook, or the classic cook. So this will be influencing the recipes that will come your way in your search in the future, if should you decide to do this. Then you've got your languages that you can set up. You can still set up how many people you cook for, what machine you use. I personally, particularly if you've got a TM5 or a 6, I leave the Thermomix version off, because if you've got a TM6, you cover TM5 and 31, and you have more choices that will be brought to you. So I've got the languages here, I've got the countries set up, and this is the amount of countries that we now have access to. You can change this whichever way you want, and when you're done, you save your filters. Was that useful? This is now going to be a permanent choice. If you haven't got any filters set up for yourself, what will happen is each time you go into the app, or each time you go onto the platform, it will give you the blank setup as it existed when you first signed up. So it'll have you on your Australian platform, and it'll not give you any access to the overseas countries. So, and that will then be the reason why you may not be able to find a recipe when we, let's say, recommend a recipe that might come from the UK or from the US. So I recommend that you involve the countries that have English as the language choice, so that you increase the amount of recipes you have actively available at all times. So check this out for yourself, and you might just surprise yourself with a few thousand more. Going back into my search. Yeah. What I'd also just like to briefly add on, and we're not going to go too far today, the opportunity is there for you to look for a recipe, but you can also utilize tags such as, say, I see Brenda here, gluten-free. Any recipe that is gluten-free will now come up. So you can utilize tags such as, yeah, what else could we use here? Dairy-free. See how that changes the choices that you get given? What else could I do? Egg-free. So the more I define my research, the more you'll be led to what you might be after, the clearer you can be in your search. I'd love for you all to practice this a little bit in the future. The other way that you can search for things is go to your pantry, go to your fridge, and put in what you've got extra. Let's say we've got a cauliflower to use. What can we make with the cauliflower? And I don't really want a soup today, but cauliflower macaroni cheese. Sounds good? Huh?
Colette, we've got a question.
Yeah.
Do Cookie Do have a style low carb?
Yes. Let me go there straight away. What I would definitely do, and I'll give you an explanation. Low carb, if you want to go low carb, you probably have heard of or deal with a lot of keto classics. Thermomix in Australia made a clear decision when they developed the low carb collections, because they wanted to be inclusive to more people. If you call something just keto, you will only attract the people who want keto. If you call something a little bit more carb, like that's a going term, you will attract more people who will look at this. So let me show you. Yeah. low carb, easy, made with the Thermomix. I go to my collection, and here it is. I've got pretty much all the major collections as books as well. So anyone who lives near me, if you ever want to flick through and also flick through all the tips that are usually included in the front of the books, I'm more than happy to lend my books out. So the other thing that I'd love to bring to you is the low carb cravings, because that is pretty much a nice little variety that gives you some good ideas for meal planning and meal prepping ahead. So the chicken meatballs with creamy tomato sauce offers you a dish that you all know, but with a different type of meat. Has anybody ever made meatballs with chicken meat? Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a little tip here. If you've got a chicken breast or two sitting in the freezer or ready to be frozen, mince them up in the Thermomix, and that'll be just fine for a whole dish. Just one chicken breast will make a big dish for dinner. So hopefully everybody had that. Did that answer the question? Sorry, while I'm talking, I'm not controlling the chat box so much. When they have a cooking style low carb. So yes, that's
that was my question, and thanks. That's fantastic, Colette. Actually, Colette, what was that last thing you were saying about the chicken breast? I sort of missed what you were saying. Is it
so
what
I often do is sometimes I have not enough meat to feed everybody in the house, or not enough to make a particular dish. So sometimes I will just put that piece of chicken back into the freezer for a couple of hours, just so that it's slightly dense. Then I cut it up into dice, rather large, and mince up so that it becomes my mince that I'll be using up for meatballs, for instance, yeah, or for a light sanchoy bao with chicken, yeah.
Oh, and is that what you were saying with the chicken meatballs? Was that what you were thinking? Was it right? Great.
Yeah, personally, I don't like to go to the shops and buy the chicken mince, because when that gets home, it's just got too much water in it for my liking. So I prefer to freeze my chicken and then use it, because then that's, just different consistency. I can highly recommend the broccoli salad, highly recommend the salmon, and the other two dishes at the bottom here. So I'm moving on. Any questions with regards to finding collections? If there's anyone in the group relatively new to Thermomix and relatively new to Cookidoo, what I found is when I show someone the Thermomix, when they first start out, they want to find recipes with certain names. Yeah, that's all well and good. Let's say we go for a beef stroganoff. You get heaps of different versions here. Unless you try them out for yourself, you won't know. A low carb option. I don't know who asked the question with regards to low carb, but I wanted to bring you this. If you haven't done it yet, this is a really, really good low carb option and quite a yummy one. On top of this is an option that will replace some of the meat with mushrooms without you actually really knowing. So I really like this version of the beef stroganoff. Yeah, is this helpful so far? Have you got some ideas on dishes that you might want to place into your meal planner? Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm just going to get into my profile. Haha, no. Going back to my profile. There we go. What I'd like to do from here is just briefly go to the Explore page. The Explore brings you to your front of the website, front of the app. Now, it was something that may help you when you have absolutely nothing left at the end of a week, or you just don't want to think or be creative at all. Check out what Thermomix has come up with, sharing the latest recipes that have been added. There you go. See what appeals to you. I have actually made this one, and I'm gonna utilize this very shortly. Sign up for free. Must be joking. I am signed up. My account. Hang on. I'm going to go into my Cookie-Doo. Okay, so moving on from here. Where was I? The Explore page. Yes. As you scroll down, you probably have seen, some of you might not remember having seen, most cooked recipes. So these are the ones that for the week past have been the most cooked meals or dishes. And then you can go further down and you will see suggestions that are a little bit more seasonal, a little bit more relating to the foods that are available in the country right now. And then you get to the latest collections. Just something, last month we dealt with this book, and you see that I've already saved it because there is no save button here on the side. So I'm going to go back and see. Let's see, I'm going to go to the newsletter, and I should be able to Cookie-Doo. Let's start fresh. Newsletter. It doesn't give me the option to save it. Normally, there should be a save button for all the collections that you have access to. And once you save a collection, the same as with your recipes, that will automatically be available on your TM6. Does everybody know that? Yeah. So I was going to go back to talking about first-time owners. When they are at the point where they don't know what to look for, I will always say, press the downward arrow and go into collections. And from here, choose what is appealing to you. Can someone come off mute and please say what is appealing to you? Anyone? Nobody. Name something, or give me the word in the chat box. Hang on, checking the chat box. Oh, you have to try the beef with wasabi. Yep, will do. I'm gonna choose the eating well gut health. Should be something for everyone here. If you choose this and you haven't saved it up, a green button will come up that will ask you to save the recipe. You can unsave it, but if you save it, it will automatically be a choice that will come up in your radio. No.
Just while you're doing that, Colette, can I? Mine is just finished.
Are you done?
Step. Can I? Yeah.
Yep.
Can I just jump onto the next one?
Yep. I've pretty much only got 2 more points for today.
Beautiful.
3, in fact. 3.
Perfect. Are you able to stop your screen share? Oh, perfect. All right. So here is this dish. So we've just finished that 15-minute cook time. Our steps now are to carefully remove the aroma. So I've got in here my veggies and my salmon and eggs underneath. And then we stir the chicken that's down in the basket. Now, you guys can't smell this because you're not here, but the smells that are coming out just from putting that thyme, onion, and garlic in the bottom are absolutely beautiful. It is so much nicer than just a plain old steamed or poached chicken. You can see that in there. It's filled with all of those flavors. They smell delicious. So I'm going to give those a little stir. This is just to ensure that it all gets cooked properly. So stir it around. And we're going to return it all and finish cooking for another 5. So put my chicken back in. These veggies are almost done, but a couple more minutes won't hurt them. Depending on what you're putting here, just use your intuitive cooking here. And if you think that it needs a bit longer, pop it in a bit longer. If it's done, pull it out. It'll be a good chance too for veggies. If you wanted to add some nice light things like beans, even wilt some spinach or something like that, you could add all of that stuff in now because it's only got another 5 minutes to go. So while this finishes off, Colette, I'll jump back over to you and this will be ready in about 5 minutes.
Groovy, super, working well. So I wanted to go back to the recipe conversion from last week and wanted to see whether anyone had any questions, or would you like me to clarify some for you? Over to you, just checking the chat box. Already saved all the books in English. Excellent. Very good. Does anyone have any questions with regards to conversions, or would it be a good idea if we devoted one session plainly to converting a recipe for you? Yeah. So what we would like to do in that instance, I asked most of you last week, have a few recipes ready that we could that you could perhaps send over to me, and I'll use in 15 minutes. I can do 3 to 5 recipes and show you how we start the conversion process. That will be a part 4 in this whole scenario. We know that there is instructions as to how to do conversions and imports and so forth, but at the end of the day, it takes practice. And just like with the Thermomix, we have found, pretty much all of us consultants have found, that it's best when you see it done in front of you, because that will reinforce the process and it'll give you confidence to do it yourself in the future. And so that's what we'd really love to do over the months of July and August, help you to be efficient and effective so that we can roll out of this winter and cold season and be really prepared to make ourselves even happier in the kitchen when it comes to springtime. Yeah, good. Wonderful. So what I would like to do is, for you who are here today, I would like to offer you something. And this is with regards to budget cooking. Thermomix in Australia have put together a challenge. And that is not quite a challenge. There are tricks to conversion I have learned. I will send them to you. Very good. I look forward to it. Thank you, Andrew. Have I told you you need to be a consultant? Yeah, he keeps saying no, and I know he will say no, but you know, sprinkle, sprinkle. Now back to it. This 28-day challenge is a challenge of a bit of a different sort. The purpose of the challenge was to set our customers up with a particular theme, and I'm going to use the savings and budgeting theme for today, and take you through a whole month, 28 days, 4 weeks, with one little task given to you every single day. Now that has several beautiful benefits for you. One, you're increasing your repertoire. You're going to be taken outside of your comfort zone. By all means, replace the recipe that you might get as a suggestion. But from a theme point of view, fulfill a step every single day. This will also help you to learn more facts about your machine. What we would like to do is on the Life Changers community page, which I believe everyone who is on here today is on, as of Friday, which is the 1st of July, we would like for us all to participate in this challenge and do it together. So what am I asking of you? My suggestion is that in my email that will summarize today's, and we'll send you the link for our next more practical session, I will send you the PDF for the 28-day challenge, and you choose in which way you take yourself through the 28 days. But let's do this together and share our experiences. So if you've made something, take a picture, put it up, entice others who were not here today or who may need to see this in the future to participate and to perhaps also start sharing. We would really like to increase the activity level on the Facebook pages, because in winter, it's quite likely that we continue to be on Zoom more than we are together in face-to-face scenarios. And let's be honest, everyone who is on here now is probably going to do a bit of Facebooking later in the day. So why not share those dishes? Yeah. Sometimes it's not going to be a dish. Sometimes it's just going to be a tip. And then you might want to do something completely different. But if you like, participate and take yourself through 28 days of budgeting and savings. As we progress through the year, my suggestion is that we share another plan with you, and that is going more so into springtime in September, let's say. We will have the next 28 days set up with food that's fresh and springy. Yeah. We have once again got to say a big thank you for you to join us. And before we leave for today, I will pass on back to Joe to A, see the results of the cooking, B, give you the details again. And we would also like to share with you what is coming up next. We have a cook-along coming, and there is also a new host reward offer coming as of Friday. So we'd like to share that with you, because we really would love for all of you guys to get the most out of your Thermomix. And what we have coming is going to benefit every one of us. Yeah.
Colette,
over to you. So thank you for me, and over to you, Joe.
Just before I do, Colette, there's just a question there about whether this challenge will suit TM5 owners as well, or only TM6 owners.
Very good question. No, this challenge, as far as I know, I will go through it again. It should be available and applicable for TM5 owners as well. Yeah, I wouldn't really want to do something that is only for a TM6. No, by all means, buy yourself a TM6 so that you've got one of each, because that makes meal planning and meal prepping much easier. You heard Joe say that. But yeah, no, it's there is a few people on here who have got more than one machine, and they will always tell you, yep, it's definitely the go. However, it's when you're ready.
Beautiful. So mine has just finished. So taking that all apart, I've got all of my veggies, or what would be salmon. This talks you through exactly how to take it all off. Then you've got all your eggs. I'm going to just stick them on there so I don't have a big mess. And this asks us to remove the simmering basket, drain the chicken, and set it in a bowl aside to cool. And then use the stock that is in the bottom as like a stock, essentially. So if I just grab my spatula.
If I can add to this, it's actually a real good broth. So it's broth that you can continue drinking. So when I use this recipe, I will continue to use this as my cup of tea like broth for a couple of days.
That's a good idea. So I pull this out. You can see that all running off. Now I can use this simmering basket. So what I can do is take my chicken out, pop it into a bowl to cool, and then drain this broth through the simmering basket so it hasn't got any chunky bits in it. And then like Colette said, it's then ready to drink. There's my chicken, veggies, eggs, broth. Now, for me, and depending on what I'm using it for, earlier on in the session, we had questions around what are you going to do now that you haven't made a complete meal. There are lots of different things that you can do. So like Colette mentioned, I could take some of this chicken, mince it, add it to a dish, or use it in something else. I could use it on sandwiches or wraps or as fillers for something else, put it on a pizza, all sorts of different things, depending on how you like to eat. For me, I like to make lunches and dinners and certain portions of things, and it doesn't always have to be a full recipe from start to finish. I might just take a few different components, throw them together, and that is that meal. And I might do that for 3 or 4 containers, and then I have meals, and they're not actually a recipe from start to finish. Yes?
I will, when I write the email, I have just taken note. I will send you a couple of recipes as to what else to do with the chicken. We have run some real successful cooking classes in the past couple of years, and what the sandwich fillings that are very easily produced in gluten-free and egg-free and so forth, like really clean but beautiful flavors. And quite often you don't go out and look for that kind of stuff, but the way that this chicken has been cooked, it really invites you to process that straight away. Over to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what I'm going to do is, you just saw me swap in a new bowl. I'm actually going to throw mine in, particularly because I've used breast and some of those chunks are quite big, and it has all of that seasoning on, and I want this ready to go. I don't want to have to do too much more to this. So I'm just going to pop my lid on. I'm going to finish that recipe, and just on manual, I'm going to click reverse and just go around to about, say, 3.5 or so. Just watching a bit through the top. I've just shredded that chicken up. I always like to keep a bit of a knife through the mixing bowl, through the hole in the lid, just so you can see how much it's shredding. But now have a look at that. It is perfectly shredded. So now this will go in salads, and it will go in as part of meals, and I'll just have a whole separate protein component there just to throw in on whatever I have. So it could be that I might also cook some rice or brown rice, and I've got myself a brown rice salad. Veggies, chicken, rice, maybe make a dressing or Colette's green sauce from last week or something like that. And you've got yourself a full, not just one meal, but maybe lots of meals. Or I go and stir that through a pasta or something like that. So lots and lots of different things you can do with it. Veggies, obviously the same thing. These are just sort of random veggies. I'll then put these in as part of meals. So add them in with the chicken, with the eggs, maybe with rice, different things like that. You can add them to salads, have warm veggie salads, or however you'd like. Even things like this, with you have spears and bigger florets, you could even make up a quick dip and you have them as veggie snacks or anything. Lots of things you can do. I often make up veggie rice or cauliflower rice. So that's something also alternatively to having them as whole. And the eggs down the bottom, again, absolutely anything, even a really quick breakfast. I know Colette mentioned breakfast earlier and how important they are, and how often people skip breakfast or don't have anything because they don't have time. Just some simple boiled eggs can be a really, really good start if that's you. Have a couple of boiled eggs, even if that is all that you have, it is a really, really good start. But how easy is it to have a couple of boiled eggs on a bit of toast or on something else? So just having those there. They're also a really good snack in between. You can, again, add them into salads and meals and do whatever that you would, whatever you'd like with them. But the opportunities are endless. It really depends on your sort of style and how you like to cook. But what a good way to make a big lot of food and really no time. you spend the whole time doing other things in just a couple of minutes there with your Thermomix. And the rest of it, yeah, you're off doing what you need to do. What do you guys think so far? What did you think of this? Is it something that you would do? Is it not for you? And what would you do with it? If you'd done this tonight and you had these 3 components, or you might have salmon if you like salmon, chicken and eggs, what will you do with it? Have a bit of a think and pop it into the chat box, or come off mute and let us know. Not into salmon? No, that's okay. That's why veggies and another layer of chicken, something different is really, really good. Different recipes, that's awesome. An egg salad, yum. Chicken in wraps, we love that here, yes. Lots of ideas. Colette, do you have any other ideas? That'd be, what would you do if you had done this prep tonight?
Hang on. Say this again.
What if you had done this? The other guys have just popped into the chat box what they would do if they had done this prep tonight. What would you do if you had salmon or veggies, chicken, and eggs done tonight?
I would have, there is a wrap recipe, a couple of them, and sometimes I will perhaps make sure that I have a couple of different types of condiments in the fridge ready to go. So if you have some time to prep, you could make a tandoori paste, or you can make some form of a curried up paste and add eggs into it, and then you can later on add the chicken. I at the moment am a little bit in a different situation, because one of my kids has decided, I want to be vegetarian again. So whenever I do meal planning and meal prepping, I'm thinking, what can I do that both parties can have, and how can I best add the meaty options or the fish into the same dish. So if I can create some form of sauce that will then take my chicken, so like that green sauce that I had last week, I will make a rice dish or a pasta dish and then just add my shredded chicken to it. But the same thing I will do with a pumpkin sauce or soup or a tomato base as well. Have you ever tried making a fish dish, like cook your salmon and have a tomato based sauce with it? It's more a Greek approach, and then you add the olives and the feta, but that's quite nice too. It's not something that people would choose on an ordinary day, but it is something that I've done in the past.
Another thing is risotto. I'll often make a basic, like a mushroom risotto. Just make it basic. We have it first night. Risotto makes quite a lot. We'll have it the first night, and the second night with leftovers, I'll add in chicken, baked veggies, or leftover baked veggies or steamed veggies or whatever they might be, and you can completely change it from a plain mushroom risotto, which is really nice on its own, to the next night you're getting a totally different meal. You add in some baked pumpkin and chicken, and it tastes completely different. Put feta on top, add spinach, whatever it might be, but you can one you'll bulk it out, so you'll stretch it even further, but two, it's like having 2 meals in one. You do one night's cooking. Risotto already is hands-free and super easy in the Thermomix, but then you get 2 meals out of it just by adding some extra things in. So just more ideas of what you can do when you have a few bits and pieces left over and prepped already. I can see the chat box has got some funny comments in it.
Yep, it does. It does. It does. Have you got anything to add? Because we wanted to just make you aware of a cook along that we are preparing. We wanted to show you how to add things into the meal planner, only really if you wanted and needed that. But yes, I'm gonna go and share the screen again. Hang on.
Can you tell us about the cook along, Colette?
Yeah. today I'm Colette. The cook along is well, our idea of the cook along is that in accordance with what people have been asking us to do, is we determine 1 or 2 dishes, and you choose which one you want to do, but you need to choose prior to us starting the Zoom. So we will all be cooking in our Thermomix, and we will all go through the different steps, and nobody needs to feel alone when they're cooking. So I have got a couple of ideas for dishes that I'm pretty sure not many people have made. And one thing that I like to bring to the party is the fact that I'd like to promote the layered cooking, so that you see and get to practice more what you can do with all the different parts of the machine. And our
Perfect.
suggestion is a Sunday afternoon. How do you feel about that? In the chat box, it would be great to hear what your preferred times are, because we know that starting the cook along on a weeknight, late night, isn't really what would be enticing for many people. Sounds like fun. Yeah, we would like to bring some fun. And it'll also give us the opportunity to make changes and show some variations as to what you can do when you have restrictions, like a health restriction, or can't get the ingredients. What can you do? How can I make it work for vegetarians and non-vegetarians? Things like that. Don't really mind the time. Yeah, Sunday afternoon. No, it doesn't have to be a cookie dough recipe, but the one thing that we would definitely want to do is make sure that everyone who wants to participate gets the recipe in time, so that you can have the ingredients at hand. That should make sense, doesn't it? Yes, one comment from me. I'm not currently subscribed to Cookie Doo. Yeah, you don't have to be, but when you get your Thermomix, you will automatically be. And as of tomorrow, 11 o'clock, a new package is going to hit town and country. As of tomorrow, 11 o'clock, you have for about 12 hours or so, you have the choice between 2 options. As of the 1st of July, pretty much, you will have the option to get a gift with purchase, and that's a 18-month subscription to the Cookie Doo platform. So you won't have to worry about joining for quite some time. Yeah. Now you know, Tennille. Yeah.
I'm just cracking up, Colette. You're doing my job for me.
Yeah, I am. Feeling good about it. She's almost there. Now, seriously, we wanted to not go over the hour, but here we go again. There is a new gift with purchase that we had already covered. We have 36 months interest-free on offer. If you do know anyone who really needs this option in this trying time, now is a good chance. This offer is going until the 19th of July. So then we go back to 24 months interest-free. If you want to earn yourself a fantastic free host reward in the month of July, we have in fact a very new collection coming, which you will see on our socials shared with you. We have a digital, an ebook that you will be able to earn yourself by having a cooking experience in the month of July, and also the blade cover peeler. If you haven't got that yet, that's also part of the host gift catalog for July. Yeah, any questions, just get in touch with your consultant if you haven't already booked, like Vicky. Yep. Don't really need to make this a selling session, but we do like to keep you informed, because that sometimes is the only way to get a message out to those who we don't know yet as consultants. So having said that, please look out for an email again. From my point of view, I will place the pantry staples list into the email with a website attached. I will share the new link for the cook along and a couple of extra recipes as to what you can do with the products that come out of the prepping ahead session that Joe took us through. And the 28-day challenge will also be shared with you. Aww, Vicky goes to sleep. And hopefully you might find some valuable stuff in those few pages for the next month. What I would really like to invite every one of you to do is choose at least one recipe each week that you haven't done yet. One recipe per week for the next month. That means you get 4 new recipes. By all means, if you make that 2 a week, I'm happy with that too, but make it 1 a week. It's manageable, it's achievable, and it's something that you can share with others, because you'd be surprised that there's so many people out there who have Thermomixes and want to make things, but are hesitant to give it a try. When they see other people trying and sharing, it's very motivating for them. So if you want to help that process, I would love that. We would love that. So having said that, happy Wednesday. Over to you.
Woohoo, woohoo. Well, that will pretty much wrap us up. But a big thank you for jumping on and joining us. If there's one thing that you have learnt or that's inspired you, I would love for you to pop that in the chat box before you go. It's always nice to know, what did you guys get out of it? Was it helpful? Or we just wasted an hour of your time? So please let us know in the chat box. What are you going to take away? I know before you guys said a few things that you picked up, try new recipes and things like that. If there's anything else, please pop that into the chat box now. But yeah, that is basically all from us. Watch out for our cook along link and that email with some extra info in it. But anything else that we can help you with, please just reach out to us individually or reach out to your consultant. We're always here to help you out, teach you more, and we can work through some of this meal planning stuff or meal prepping with you as well, in a more of a one-on-one situation if that's helpful for you. So thank you all for joining us again, and hopefully we'll see you again next week or when we have our cook along.
Thank